Welcome to Essence for Women, and this is our love story. Finally, yay! Thank you for joining our YouTube channel. I want to send out the links and let everybody join. You don't want to miss this. Like I wrote on one of my my social media handles, so we do not have like the perfect love story, but I know that there's a lot we can share. There's a lot we will share that will be a blessing to you, right? On our 9th year wedding anniversary, I wrote out a little of the things that happened during courtship, on my wedding day, and I know a lot of people just want to know what went down, all right? And so that's why this came about. I am certain that you are going to be blessed. I'm certain that you will learn from our mistakes, you will learn from our strength and everything. So I hope you are ready. I want you to invite your friends and let us be part of this, all right? So on the show with me today, remember it's Essence for Women, all right? And on the show with me today is my husband. My husband of 9 years. My husband keeps saying we courted for 3 years.
Yeah, no, I never said so.
We courted for 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years.
I've been courting you in my mind, didn't
Maybe. Most likely you've been married to me for 20-something years.
All right, it took me a lot to get him to come here. And so I appreciate you a lot, sweetheart, for coming.
It's a pleasure.
For choosing to share this with us.
Yeah,
my husband is very conservative, traditional old man, all right? But I'm bringing out this part of him.
I'm not an old man.
You're an old man. See your white beards. All right, so I'm trying to bring this out of him. There's a lot he's going to share.
May the Lord forgive you.
Amen. There's a lot he's going to share that even me, I'll be hearing for the first time. I want to also use this program to make him say some certain things. Do you understand me? So you are in the picture. Let us get together. So we're going to start from our growing up days, our single days, before we decided to, hook up with each other and all of that. And I'd like you to know that, see, there is nothing that a young man and a young woman go through when they are in love that we didn't go through. So trust me, we're not just going to be dishing out to you some well-tailored story. We're going to be real, and I hope you are ready to hear things here today. You can send in your questions, all right? We may not be able to answer your questions now. There'll be another show where your questions will be answered, all right? So just send in your questions. So, babe, I want us to discuss our growing up days. You were not there when I was way younger, growing up, so to say. Neither was I.
Yeah.
Although I know my mom taught you in primary 2. And I've been meaning to ask my mom how naughty you were.
I wasn't. I've always
at primary 2. We have a daughter that does somehow now. And there's a part of me that feels that was you.
It's you.
That was
It's you.
All right. So I want us to discuss our growing up days. All right. When we didn't know each other. Okay. I'm still going to ask my mom to tell me about yours. All right. So growing up days for me, we both grew up in the city of Ilorin. Ilorin is just that beautiful, beautiful place. You would love to be there. And we both grew up in Emmanuel Baptist Church. God bless that church. Every time I remember the inputs in my life, I just pray for that church. God bless that church. So, we kind of had a similar growing up experience. Humble background. I went to school. I went to primary school. Initially, I went to St. Joseph's Primary School. Later, I went to Emmanuel Baptist Nursery and Primary School. And then I went to C&S College. All public schools. Okay, except for Emmanuel was a private school.
And St. Joseph's.
And St. Joseph's was a private school.
Yeah.
All right, so I just grew up knowing that there was something inside of me. There was something that burned inside of me. And I was a church girl from scratch. I was a church girl. My parents, we were all church people, long and short. We had no other life. I'm sure that was the same for your parents too.
Yeah.
Every time is church, church, church. So I didn't know any other life apart from church. Yeah, I had that, I had invites to parties, but it just never, I've never attended one. So I just, went to church, grew up in church, learned a lot of things in church, all right? And one of the things I learned, I had a platform. There was this teenage church in Emmanuel back then. I grew up in the teenagers church, and so it gave us a platform to express certain things that was inside of us. I loved to sing, I loved to act, I loved to meet people, all of those things. And teenagers gave me that opportunity. And well, I grew up older to find out that was purpose, like that purpose was forming.
Yeah.
But because it was a passion for me, I put in everything. All right, so there's rehearsal, I'm there. they want to do this and there, and you know, it shaped up a lot in me. Only for me to get a job where I'll have to be doing, I was paid well, all right, to sing, to talk to people, to meet people. I was paid well. So see, what I'm saying is that there are things you do now that you could take for granted. But because you are doing it so well, and you know, you are making a good practice of it, somebody may place a value and place money on that for you. So whatever your hand finds to do, I think you should do it well. That's the word for the single ladies and guys out there. Get busy doing things that you have passion for. Do it. Know everything you have to know about it. When somebody needs to pay for it, they're going to call you, because by that time, sure, you would have grown to do it and know it so well. Unlike somebody who went to learn it in school. You had done the practice. You had done it before somebody started paying for it. So you're going to do it better by the time they start paying for it. So instead of looking for money up and down, do something that builds you. Do you understand what I'm saying, babe?
Yeah, start up something. You know, and starting up something doesn't really mean be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Okay, because for me, yeah, similar story. Interestingly, I also went to St. Joseph's. Interesting, disciplined environment.
Yeah, yeah.
She was a church girl. I was a church boy, but not in church.
He wasn't. And so when he came to church, I was like, you know what?
I looked like, I was a rebel, kind of.
Yeah.
I was a quiet rebel.
And quiet rebels are the most dangerous.
I just never went through the ranks. You know, our system had the, you go from here to there to there. I just never went through it. At that time, I didn't know any better, really. But we grew up in a city where the street was beautiful. When I say beautiful, not just paved fields. I'm talking about lovely environment for children to grow. I had a neighborhood basketball court, for instance. That's where I played basketball. That was where I learned basketball. We had a neighborhood playing field. It was a school field. We played football there. That's where I learned to play football. We had the table tennis court somewhere in the house. You know, so I had, you know, access to be social, yet we had all the Jesus things to CM.
I mean, clean social life.
Yeah.
You didn't have to enter vices to be social.
You didn't have to. And so, I mean, getting into this CM, Children Evangelism Ministry, Teenagers Outreach Ministry, those two formed my growing up days, really. I spent most of my life. I joined TOM, which is Teenagers Outreach Ministries.
I did too.
At about 12 or 13. I was there for several years. I came back to facilitate. Interestingly, I was one of the trainers for my wife too when she was going to be
They were training, but they were doing something else.
It's a lie. We focused on the work.
Are you sure?
Looking up to Jesus. But really, serving in those places, you know, opened my heart to a number of things. I knew I had a love for the people. I knew I wanted people to live right. Not necessarily. I didn't even think they needed to live according to scriptures. I just felt people should live right. Right.
Just behave well. Don't be obedient to your parents. Nothing.
I mean, my parents will tell you stories about me, but when in final analysis, I think we were just good guys. God just helped us.
God just helped us.
Yeah.
I had my issues. I had my sexual abuse issues. All right, and it's a story for another day. But despite those abuses, I mean, I went back to church.
Yeah.
I didn't know any other life. I'm sure that if I'd gotten out, maybe I would have a worse story.
Yeah.
But somehow, with my issues, it sent me back to church. I was confused for a long time. There was a lot I couldn't explain. Yeah, I didn't even think of get into a relationship at all, because I mean, I was still hurting emotionally. I was hurting. I was sick for a while. All right, but it took me back to church, because I knew that was. I mean, I didn't have any other life. That was where I could put all my energy in, you know, without breaking down.
True.
And I thank God, because going back to church, despite being hurt by church people, because some of us are hurt by church people, and we think we should go out. See, despite being hurt by church people, I went back to that same church.
That's where you're going to find your healing.
Yeah, that's where I found my healing.
You know, having that Christ base was just interesting. Okay, so I played basketball. I also played basketball in the state stadium. And if you played basketball in my generation, I don't know what it is right now. There are all kinds of vices there. Guys who come smoke hemp. You know, you have to take a swim, have to do all of those things. There are all kinds of things that was going on at that time. But you see, there's really, let's be sincere, there's something called the church mind.
Yeah.
There's something within you that just rings a bell and say, hey, you shouldn't be here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we did it. We did all kinds of things, experimented on things. But you know, looking back right now, I can say that fact that we grew up around some godly counsel.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I wasn't a church boy in church. I had gone out of church, of my local assembly, even pastored on campus before I became useful to them. I became useful to them in church. But before then, I did the things I had to do, did them on the street. You know, and this brings us back to the issues of purpose. How purpose affected who we are
Right now.
and has also affected who we eventually did marry.
Yeah, true. Purpose will always do that for you. I'm sure my husband will talk to you about that part, that purpose part. But for me, I struggle with even ever getting married in the first place, because I mean, I've been sexually abused severally by guys, and I mean, so who would even love me? Who was even worth my love? And so I totally shut my mind to that until I met him, and so I wanted to listen properly. Put your hand down. I wanted to listen properly. When I met him, relationship was not on my mind. That's the truth. That's the truth. Okay, so this is how it happened. I used to see him in church when we were younger. I mean, they used to come in this 405.
505, not 405.
505. Kini yato.
Classic.
Kini yato.
Classic.
Do you understand?
You didn't have to say
they
that.
will load. So, because when you are saying
we
classic
used to
now,
come
somebody would think that you are sitting at the back.
505.
Plenty people in that car, they would drive into church. I mean, I used to just watch and because my dad didn't have a car at that time. And look at these people. And then this fine boy will come out, well-tailored shirts and well-ironed. I'm like, hey God, who is this guy? I mean, that was way back when you're young. So for a long time, I didn't see him in church again. I mean, and I wasn't thinking about him. And so he came back to church when we were older. I think I was in 200 level, or the 100 level, Misham.
About that?
Yeah, so he just came to church. I'm like, this is the, I just remember, Boboke Keri and that. He was so fat, big bum. I'm like, this is the guy, he's back in church and all. And so I used to, and I had a friend who's his cousin, Tayo. Her name is Tayo. All right, so Tayo and him used to talk, and I used to wonder,
we weren't talking about you.
Are you sure?
You can go on.
They used to talk and I wondering, who is this guy? I mean, Tayo is my friend. He'll just say hi and walk away. And so a part of me felt, why is he so proud? And he's tall. There's a way he can walk and walk like a proud guy. Like, I'm not beefing you. Okay, truth was, at that time, I could say that despite my hurt, I developed some form of feelings for him. All right? I developed some form of feelings, and but then my beef was stronger than the feeling.
You see, beef.
So I just used to, I beg, until, and this shocked me. At that time, I was working at the teenagers' church. He walked into teenagers' church. I'm like, Kilo, why should he buy? Like, why can't you take any other ministry in church to work? Why come to where I am? Like, what are you looking for? Do you understand? You ain't looking for me, but when you came to church, you were talking to me, give me that eyes.
Which eyes? Do I have eyes?
All right, so my heart skipped a bit, like, hey, this guy has come to now meet me. Me that was trying to, handle my feelings and, but in between, I was more focused on purpose. I mean, I had teenagers in my hands. Teenagers who were troubled emotionally, teenagers who needed help, who needed counsel. That filled my heart more than. And when he came in, I found out that, I think he had the same heart with me. He was also all out. In fact, at some point, we were managing, so to say, the same person. He had to talk to him. I had to talk to him. And, we had to come back together to discuss him and pray for him and all of that. Yeah, while all this was going on, I had feelings for him. I couldn't deny that. But I mean, crush me now. You could have crush on anybody. I've had crush on people before he came, and I mean, it wasn't a big deal. I
know some. They're on TV, but it's okay. We won't talk about that today.
What? So the people that had crush on have been good job.
TV people. TV. TV.
That happened. It's true.
May the Lord forgive you. Go on.
It happens now. People, you can't deny that you've never had a crush on a celebrity. All of you are even shouting top and down. You put them on your status, so I beg. I don't feel anyhow about it, Steph. See, you should thank God that guy did not come to Nigeria, Michael Scofield. If he had landed in this country, if that guy had landed in this country, honestly, you stand a chance. So. All right, so yeah, I mean, I had a crush on other guys. I never dated any of them. I mean, man, my crush can be very strong. Trust me. But I never dated any of them. So, I mean, this didn't feel differently. So, yeah, the fact that you have a crush on a guy does not mean he's your husband or you are in love. Mm-hmm. You must be able to separate it. Is this a crush or, I mean, this is real love, all right? So when I had a crush on him, it didn't feel differently from every other guy. So I felt, yeah, I'm going to be fine. But for him to walk into teenage church, I'm like, oh, Jesus, this guy's going to make my getting fine, it would delay me getting over him and all of that. But then purpose took over our hearts and...
True.
So yes, I'd like to know what you were thinking when you walked into teenage church that day.
Okay, for me it was simple. Someone walked up to me and said, hey, you've been away for 2 years. I'd been away for 2 years and I'd just come back and she said to me, Dotun, we need you here. It was as simple as someone calls you for a job. Yeah, we need you here. And I took the step, right? I took the step to go in and work in there. I had no one in my mind. I just wanted to work with those young people. I just enjoyed the fact that we had the opportunity to shape lives, to improve.
But you used to see me before then, Abby.
Yeah, there's a story behind that.
Okay, so I'd like to hear that story.
Okay,
you've not told me.
Let me share. Okay.
Share.
All right, I think it was about the time.
Oh no, I think we share this in the next episode.
She's afraid.
That's why. I'm not afraid.
She's afraid.
So watch out for the next episode. You want to hear this story? I want to hear this story too. He's never told me before, and I'm wondering why I haven't asked. I mean, so watch out for the next episode. In between, get people to subscribe to our channel. Next episode, we're going to wrap it all up, and we're going to share everything you want to know. Thank you for joining me. I don't take this for granted. I love you all. God bless you. Bye-bye.